Well, we're here to talk about the grandma's family and history.
What family?
Tell us a little bit about your parents. How did they came to America?
I don't know so much.
Yeah.
They came in wait a minute. My sister was 5 years old. And she was born in 1895.
So
they came in 1900.
1900,
right? Then they must have come.
1899. Yeah.
Oh, 1899 maybe,
99.
yeah. To escape
Persecution.
persecution in Russia.
In Russia.
Yeah.
In Minsk, I guess. In today's
And the rest of the
Ukraine.
kids were born here,
Yeah.
you know. And
Who was born here? Was everybody born here?
I don't hear you though.
Were all of your brothers and sisters born here?
No, my mother had 7 children. She lost one. That one got lost before we were born. His name was Joseph. Of the 6, 4 were born here. Bessie and Leonard were already born in Europe, and they came here. And the 4 of the rest were born here. Yeah.
What city were they born in?
What?
What city were they born in?
The city.
New York City.
Oh.
They came to Ellis Island, you know,
Yes.
and they settled on the east side, Manhattan. A struggle, a real struggle to live, you know.
Yeah.
They lived on the, I'm told, on the 5th floor, walk up. No electricity.
Wow.
The bathroom in the hall. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
For everybody. Yeah.
But we survived, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember that place?
No, I don't remember it. But I do remember one very incident that was very important, and why I remember it, I don't know. My sister Sylvia, who was 22 months younger than me, I remember the night she was born.
Oh.
Strangely, I was in the high chair. I'm 22 months old, and I hear my mother screaming. I don't know why, you know, naturally.
But exactly, because it was a shock.
But I remember somebody coming in with a satchel. Doctor. Why do I remember that?
Yeah, how interesting. What happened? The woman was coming in and helping your mother?
A doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah, a doctor came, and she was born in the house. But I don't remember living there myself. I don't remember my mother, for that matter.
In Russia, your father was in the army, you said.
He was in the army. He was a captain.
A captain in the army.
So he told me. Do you remember your grandfather? Yeah, I don't think you remember him.
Perry?
My father.
No, I don't.
Morris.
He was 6 feet tall and very straight.
What?
Yeah. My father was a nice-looking man. He walked straight. I walked straight. And he walked very straight. Always. As old as he was, he was not bent. He walked very straight. And he was a nice-looking man.
How was he, like, as a person? Which kind of person?
I don't know him that well.
Yeah. But was he very serious, very quiet?
Quiet. A very quiet man who unfortunately didn't get to know his children too well. Because you know where the 4 kids landed.
Yeah.
The 4 kids landed in the Orphan Asylum.
Do you know which one? Do you remember? Which asylum?
Oh, sure. It was up in New York, what was it called? Oh, I forget, but it was an infant home, you know.
Right after your mother died.
Naturally.
Yeah.
What was my father going to do with his 4 small kids? What does a man do with 4 small children? He can't cope. He's got to earn a living. So 4 children landed, and I didn't know that I had brothers and sisters. Because when you're separated that young, I was 3 years old. I didn't know Gloria and my brother Morris.
So you were separated from each other?
Sure. But my sister Sylvia and I went to the infant home. So I knew her.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was my sister, but we were together.
Oh, amazing.
And I do remember one other thing. I remember getting there, and they put me in a crib with a lot of other kids in cribs, and my crying my eyes out, Mama, what my mama? And nobody paid any attention. Till I cried myself to sleep. I'll never forget that. Isn't that funny how you remember certain things?
Yeah.
And then after that, I never remembered her. You know, you forget at 3. But I grew, you know. And when I was 5, when you're 5.5 years old, they throw you out of that infant home. I went to live with a family in Manhattan, a foster home.
Foster home.
And I was there for 5 years, and I was very happy. They were very good to me. It was a German family, German Jewish family, and they treated me like a member of the family. So I was happy. So when I was 10 years old, the authorities took me away from there.
Why?
Because I had a brother and sister up in Pleasantville, New York. And they wanted to unite the brothers and sisters. I didn't know them. I didn't know Gloria and Morris. And I cried. I wanted to stay where I was. It was home. I used to call them Tante and Uncle. Tante, it means aunt. And Uncle, the old couple. Tante and Uncle. But I was a happy kid there. And I went to Pleasantville. But I was not put in and up there, they have cottages where 30 kids are in a cottage. The boys on one side, the girls on the other. They introduced me to my sister Gloria. I didn't know him. And introduced me to my brother Morris.
You were 10?
To me, they were strangers. And then I remember I got notice that Tante passed away. I asked the authorities if they would let me go to New York to the funeral. They wouldn't grant me, and I was heartbroken. I remember being heartbroken. Because I loved her. She was like a mother to me. They didn't let me go. Then when I'm close to 16, they throw you out. And you're on your own.
Oh my God.
You're on your own.
This was New York what time?
Huh?
1922.
1922.
23.
What?
1923.
I came out in 1923. I went in there July 1918. I came out September 1923. I went to live with my oldest sister, who lived in 3 rooms herself with 2 little kids.
Who was she, Sylvia?
She had 2 little kids.
Sylvia?
No, Sylvia was younger than me.
Oh.
Sylvia's dead now.
Who was the other?
My sister Bessie,
Bessie.
who's 13 years older than me. She had 2 little kids, and I slept in the living room. Where else? And the little kids would run back and forth. I lived there for 2 months, that's all. Couldn't stay there. Gloria says to me, come on, we'll go live with Leonard, my brother Leonard, who lived across the street. My brother Leonard was married. He had no children. Gloria and I went to live there. My sister-in-law decided she's not going to cook for us. We were to pay board and eat out.
Oh, boy.
Life was so harsh.
Yeah.
That's what we did. All we did was have the bedroom. She had a 2-bedroom house. We lived there for 3 months when Leonard and Sophie broke up. My brother Leonard did a very unfair thing. We had 2 little sisters, Gloria and me. Should have come and told us, look girls, I'm leaving here. You better find someplace else to live. He didn't. So she says to us, Sophie, I want you girls out of here today. So each of us had a little cardboard box. We didn't have a valise. We had no money. A little cardboard box, and we went out. We went to work all day. We came back. We had to find a place to live.
What did you work on?
Huh?
What did you work with?
I was a stenographer.
Stenographer.
And I was a good one. Because they trained me well.
Yes, that's at least one thing they do.
They trained me well. I was a very good stenographer and typist. Very good. And I got a job, you know. We went looking for signs where we could live, a room. We came upon a room, and she took us in, but the rats were running around all night.
No.
So we said in the morning, we can't stay here. We cannot stay here. Out we went again, and this is the funniest thing you ever heard. I lived in Borough Park, you know where Borough Park, in Brooklyn. Went to a 14th Avenue in Borough Park, a private house. There was a sign. So we figured, gee, let's go live there, you know. The lady of the house, Mrs. Handelman, her name was, interviewed us. We had 2 girls. We need a place to live. And she showed us the bedroom. And we lived there a whole year. But we always said, it was very funny that Mrs. Handelman was always in a bathrobe. Never was dressed. And her daughter, a married daughter, was always also in a bathrobe. And we always saw men coming in and out. But we didn't know anything.
Sure.
We were so innocent.
Innocent.
We didn't know anything. We were there, and nobody ever bothered us. Nobody. Mrs. Handelman made sure of that. Nobody used to bother the 2 girls. We lived there a whole year when the realization came. Why these men are coming, and why they're always in the bathrobe. So we said, we can't stay here.
That's a very
But
good
they were
story.
the ones who were nice to you, right?
Very nice to us.
Yeah.
So we said, we were earning a living. I said, Gloria, let's look for an apartment. So we found an apartment. A 3-room apartment. We went to the Salvation Army. We bought a few pieces of furniture. We bought a bed, chest of drawers. We went to Woolworths. We bought a few dishes, some pots and silverware, and we put together a little, not fancy, but we put together a little home.
But you had something, finally.
Just at that time, I met my husband. To give him credit, he never said, how come you girls are living like this alone, 2 young girls? I was 20 years old, Gloria was 3 years older. Never asked, never. But I made it understood that every time you see me, you got to take me to dinner. Because we worked all day, we couldn't stand and cook.
Yeah.
So there was a delicatessen a couple of blocks away. Listen to this. We didn't have the brains to know to eat the main dish for nourishment. So every day, we went there every night because they put a lot of rye bread on the table and they served a nice big plate of vegetable soup. So every night we had the plate of vegetable soup and a couple of pieces of rye bread with butter and coffee and cake. This is how we ate. We didn't know. Eat the main dish better. But nobody told us. And my husband courted me from there. Never said, how come, where we are people? Never, to give him credit. The average boy would say, well, where are your people? Who are you? My husband, when I met him, was going with a girl. I know her name. I don't want to mention it. He was not engaged to her, but he was going with her. She came from Park Avenue. 2 brothers are doctors. One of them operated on Perry. His nose, a deviated septum, you know, operated on his nose. How did I look compared to her?
Very good.
You can imagine.
Very good.
Here I'm a poor kid, and the other girl is on Park Avenue.
It's a very rich, exclusive
2 brothers
area.
are doctors.
I know.
Yeah.
Going with him, I knew he was going with another girl because he never made a secret of it. One day came and he finally says to me, Mildred, sit down, I want to tell you something. I'm getting engaged. I said, oh, congratulations. I didn't say, what are you taking up my time? I didn't say anything like that. I said, I'm happy for you. I wish you luck. But I think you should go home. Why do you push me out so? Look, to me, you're an engaged man. That's as good as married. I don't want to be bothered with anybody that's engaged or married. I think you should go home. And he went. So I figured that's the end of it, right? In a week, I'm getting telephone calls from him. And I said, why are you calling? I want to talk to you. All right, I'll talk. This went on for 6 months. I did not see him. Calling me every night of the week. Then it came to me, I heard, oh, and the Epstein family liked her because she was, you know, she was somebody. And then when he decided, oh, he calls me one day and he says, look, I must see you. This is very important. I said, no, you don't. You're engaged. You're going to be married. No, he said, now listen, take me seriously, please. I must see you. I said, all right. I'll meet you at that time, the Astor Hotel in Manhattan. You don't remember, you're too young. But there was an Astor Hotel in Manhattan on 40-some-odd Street. I said, I'll meet you at the Astor Hotel. And I made sure I looked my best. I got dolled up, and I made sure I looked good. I'm sitting there, and now I don't know that that's a meeting place for prostitutes.
No, God.
I don't know that. I'm waiting to meet Perry. A man comes over to me. He thinks I'm waiting to be picked up. I said, get lost. Get away from me. Perry came along. We went to dinner. I said, you're not taking me home, because I figured he takes me home and the smooching in the hall and all that. I'm not going to have any part of it. I said, I will go home alone. Those days you weren't afraid to go home alone.
Mm-hmm.
He tells me he's breaking his engagement. I said, why? He tells me he was on a drunk for 3 days. He was very unhappy. He realized he made a terrible mistake. He was impressed by her family, her background. And I had no background. He didn't even meet anybody in my family except Gloria.
What did he do at the time?
Huh?
What did he work with?
He?
Yeah, Perry.
He was in the doll business.
He was already in the
At that time?
He was not in business. He worked for them.
Oh.
For
He
whom?
was the head of a department. He eventually bought the place.
Yes.
I said, you were on a drunk for 3 days. Interesting. I was very, you know,
Superior.
I made a terrible mistake. I realized that you don't live with the family, you live with that one person. And I realized, he says, that I can't live with her. I listened. I made a mistake. What I really wanted was you. I said, well, I don't know. I got very independent. Very. It's all right. I said, I have to think about it. After all, my feelings were hurt, you know. You preferred somebody else in preference to me. This was the summer. He says, where are you going to be on vacation? And I was going to away, one of those places up in the mountains. I had 2 other boyfriends. I go up for my vacation and all 3 show up, including Perry Epstein, on my vacation. All 3. I was what was I to do? It was a terrible, you know, you're on a spot. Perry came to me and he says, look, I don't care for these games. I want to marry you. I love you, and you know, gave me this feel. So I decided that he really was the one for me, and I told the other 2, I'm sorry, but I'm getting engaged. Because I know for a fact one of the other 2 wanted me. I'm not so sure about the other, but one of them did. My sister Gloria, to this day, says she would have liked to have Sam for her brother-in-law. I said, no, Perry Epstein was my, we were married for 56 years. And I will say this for my husband, he preferred me over the children. And he did. He did. It was a good marriage. Well, I come into the Epstein family. Listen to this.
Good story.
Some member of the family was getting married, so one of the nieces, somebody was getting, and Perry decides to take me to that wedding. I had nobody to advise me how to dress. So I did all the wrong things. I wore an orange dress, a cowl neck, down to here. A cowl neck, all the way down. And I put on too much makeup. And I go to the wedding. And I hear them shushing. Who is she? Who is she? Meaning me. I make believe I don't hear. What am I going to? I'm embarrassed. You know? And Perry laughs it off. He laughs it off because he knew his family. And some of them were bulldogs. They were.
Yeah, they were.
We became engaged. And we got married in January 10th, 2 days before your birthday.
Right.
I'm married a month. Listen to this. I'm married a month. One of Perry's sisters, he had 5 of them. And he was the youngest, 10. We go there for dinner. The whole 20 strong. 10 brothers and sisters, all with their husbands and wives. I went into the bathroom, and they didn't realize that the walls were thin. And I hear them talking, and I'm dying. Where'd you get her? I hear one of them saying, the oldest one, Jenny, who died at the age of 96.
Yes, I remember Jenny.
You remember
Oh,
that
yeah,
Jenny
from the
was a
farm?
witch? If there ever was a witch.
Oh,
on
she used to wear a gambling cap all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
She was a real witch.
Yeah,
She had 4 different lovers
yeah.
and made no secret of it.
How
Yeah.
interesting.
In the 40s.
Men liked her. Men, I don't know what it was, she wasn't good looking, but men liked her. There was something about her that,
Yeah.
as old as she was, men liked her.
How interesting. This time.
Well, she had
40
lovers
years
that-
ago.
not all 4 at one time, one after the other. Made no secret of it. And they're saying, who is she? What happened to Sadie? The other one's name was Sadie. What happened with Sadie? And my poor husband doesn't know how to answer them. And he says, it wasn't to be, it wasn't to be.
It sounds like Grandpa.
This is the girl I wanted to marry. Where'd you get her? Who are her people? And I have no people.
Right.
I walked out of that bathroom with my head high. I made believe I didn't hear. Then listen what happened. This is all, I'm married a month. This is what happened. Perry was head of a department in the doll business. So the various brothers and sisters, if they had a child that was a boy or a girl that needed a job, they always went to him to give their kids a job. Jenny, my oldest sister-in-law, wanted a job for Walter, her son. Walter to this day calls me. And he said to her, I'm sorry, but I don't have any opening right now. I remember everything as clear as day. So she called him every name under the sun. You're a horse thief. She called him a horse thief. And here everybody's listening. 20 strong. So I was a cocky kid. I said to her, don't talk to my husband like that. She says, look at her. Look at her. Who's talking to you? I says, you're talking to my husband. I said, he is my husband by choice. He's your brother because of the accident of birth. He had no choice. And I don't like anybody to talk to my husband that way. So my brother-in-law, Ruby, you remember him?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Mildred, when sisters and brothers argue, you shouldn't interfere. I said, now listen, and I said this, as young as I was, I said, if Jenny and Perry and I were in one room, and they were arguing, I would not interfere. But when the whole damn family is listening, I have a right to interfere. Well, you really shouldn't, Ruby says to me, brothers and sisters. Meantime, all my other sister-in-laws are coming over and patting me on the back. Good for you, good for you. How do you like that? All my sisters-in-law, my husband's brothers' wives were afraid of their husbands.
Yeah.
They were afraid because they were bulldogs.
Yeah.
Patting me on the back, good for you.
Good for you.
Did you work after you
Huh?
married? Did you work after you married? No.
No.
Do you remember the name of the store your husband worked?
It wasn't a store, it was a big factory.
A big factory?
F&B.
F&B Doll Company, it
Yeah.
never changed its name.
F&B?
F&B dolls, yeah.
You spelled it out, EFFANBEE. And then the year came where the owners decided to sell the firm. Perry worked there since she's 13 years old.
Mm.
He came in there sweeping the floor at 13. He swept the floor. Well, by then I'm married already and I have a baby, Eleanor was born, and the firm is for sale. So 3 of the employees decided to buy it, but who had the money? We needed an awful lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We had no credit at the bank. So I went to my sister Gloria, who had a few dollars. Gloria, can you lend me some money? She loaned me $20,000. She had
It's a lot of money.
George, Perry's brother George, who I always loved, loaned us money. Ruby loaned us money. And other people from our temple,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because Perry was well known in the loaned her money. And we bought 1/3, we bought our share. But we did without a whole, because you buy it, you don't get a salary right away.
Yeah.
You know? And but we managed, we didn't starve. By then I had the 2 children. And eventually it got to be all right. Then one of the owners died, and they were just partners, Perry and his partner.
Mm-hmm.
He owned it for 20 years, and then we sold it.
Mm-hmm.
We sold it because he was getting tired and he was sick, you know. And he says, if I stay in New York any longer, I won't make it. And I said, get rid of it. I want you to live. And that's what made us come down.
Mm-hmm.
So we came in 1972. But he lived 15 years here.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Right, you have a good life.
He lived till he was 83 years old. He would have never made it in New York with the snow and everything. He couldn't. And we were very happy here. But this is my 4th apartment here.
We heard.
You heard, huh?
Yeah, we had all the
I
apartments
owned
there.
another apartment. But I had a cousin who lived in this building. And she taught me, my husband died in the other apartment, my other condo. Perry died there.
Mm-hmm.
We lived there for 9 years. Died in the house with nurses around the clock. He was very well taken care of. Nurses around the clock. But I only had a 1-bedroom apartment, but the nurse slept in with him, and I slept in the living room. I have it to this day, a rollaway bed. We have space, you know. So Ethel, my cousin, come live here. So I sold my apartment, and it takes nerve to move alone. I had no husband, and I moved. I bought this apartment, but when I came in, the kitchen floor was miserable. I put down tile. You know, and I had the place paid. I bought it for cash. I'm living here 2 years, Ethel dies. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
But I loved her. I did love her. But she lived here with a husband that was the worst man in the world.
Who's that?
What is it about sometimes these very wonderful girls, and she was a wonderful, marries a bastard? How does that happen? Milton was a bastard. I'm widowed 2 weeks when I visited here at Ethel's. And he says to me, Mildred, when are you going to shack up with somebody? I'm a widow for 2 weeks. When are you going to shack up with somebody? I says, why, is that what you would do? He says, of course.
Tell me something. What happened to your brothers and sisters? You married, and what happened to them?
They never married. Neither one of them never married. I don't know, that's the way it was.
Well, Bessie married.
Huh?
Bessie married.
Oh, my sister Bess, she had a lousy marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest sister. When Eleanor was born, I lived 3 blocks away from my sister Bessie. My sister had 3 children. I have a first baby. I know nothing about a baby. Wouldn't you think an older sister would come and help you a little bit? No, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But stupid me, when I was able to take my baby out in the carriage, I went right to her.
Mm-hmm.
My sister never helped me at all. She was hardly a sister. But all right. But to this day, I'm in touch with her daughter, who lives in California, and I'm an aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister Sylvia's daughter is in Arizona. I'm in touch with all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I keep close with my nieces.
Mm.
I think we ought to go to lunch, don't you?
Yeah, we
Let's
can.
go eat.
Okay.
Is it finished?
No, we're still.
Gloria never married, but Gloria was smart. She took civil service exam and worked for the government in the law.
She was closest to you, right?
Huh?
Gloria was the closest to you.
Yes.
You were close to you.
Yes.
I heard that your father lived with you a while also?
When I lived in Clarkson Avenue in Brooklyn, my father had a heart attack. Now, I didn't even know him, remember? I go to the hospital to see him with my husband, and the hospital wants him out. So I said, Papa, where would you go? He says, he didn't know. Well, even though he was a stranger, I says, we're going to take you. I only had a 2-bedroom apartment. I took my 2 children out of the bedroom, gave it to my father,
Mm-hmm.
and took the 2 kids in my bedroom, 4 in one bedroom. And I kept my father, and I nursed him well for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I took him on my anniversary, January 10th. I took him out of the hospital. I kept him till July 1st, where he had friends on the east side, and he wanted to go back there.
Where?
Downtown, on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
He had lived there before the heart attack with a lady. He was a boarder, you know, and he wanted to go back there. So we took him back there. 2 months later, he has another heart attack and drops dead. But my brother, oldest brother, had a big home, didn't ask him.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Bess,
Who was the oldest brother, Morris?
no, my brother Leonard.
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 Leonard. He died when he was 63.
Mm-hmm.
He remarried, had a magnificent home, but we
What did he do?
He was a CPA,
What's a CPA?
A public
Accountant.
accountant.
certified public accountant. He was head of the bankruptcy division of New York City. Leonard was a big shot.
Was, well,
But he never bothered with us. We were little sisters. He never bothered with us. He didn't bother with us. And we didn't bother with him. Morris lived in it as a boarder by people, and Gloria did too. But later, when Gloria was making much more money, she took an apartment near me.
mm-hmm.
Neither one of them married. My brother, Morris, lived on a very quiet street on Ditmas Avenue of Brooklyn, with all trees, with very little traffic. Was walking one day, a taxi comes along, loses
Breaks.
control, up on the sidewalk, and kills my brother.
Oh. How old was he?
70 years old.
He never married?
He never married. Listen, next thing I know, police are at my apartment. Are you Mildred Epstein? I said, yeah, what are you here for? You got a brother, Morris Sachs? Because they looked in his pocket, my name and address. was in his pocket. So the police came to me, and I had to go to the morgue to identify him. That's a terrible experience.
Yes.
Did you ever? Oh,
No.
No.
never.
we went to the morgue. We took Gloria with us. Identified him. I used to give my brother money all the time because he claimed never to have anything. And I had him for dinner every Friday night. Every Friday night he came to me for dinner. My brother dies and he leaves $12,000–15,000. We thought he had nothing.
How much?
So I'm the administrator, and I took care of that, and I divided that money between my sisters. Not much. The lawyer took 1/3 of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There wasn't much. And Gloria had her apartment till she was 90. Then your mother, God bless her, if she never did another good thing, she did a wonderful deed for my sister.
Yeah.
She came there and saw the conditions. You must have heard about
Yeah,
it.
I heard about it, yeah.
Took her out of it and has been looking after her ever since. And goes to visit her every 2 months. Calls her up ahead and tell me everything you need, and she brings whatever she needs. Your mother's wonderful to her. In fact, she's going there December the 6th.
Mhm.
And even Gloria says, I look forward to Eleanor and Jerry coming. They take her out for coffee. They take her to King's Highway in the store and let her buy what she wants.
Tell us a little bit about Perry's family.
Harry's family. Well, they were 20 strong. We used to wonder
They were
whether...
all born in America?
No. Let me see. 3 were born on the other side. Jenny and two girls and a boy were born in
Russia.
the others 8 or 10, whatever the hell they were. 7 were born in this country. Perry's father was a sadist. You know what a sadist
Yeah.
is?
Yes.
You know what a sadist
Yeah.
is.
What is it?
Person who gets pleasure of
He was a
getting
cruel
paining
man.
other people.
He was
Oh,
very-
yes.
He was a very cruel man.
Yeah.
He had all these children, but he used to abuse them. Not sexually, abuse them.
Authoritarians,
Abuse them.
tyrant.
Beat them up all the time. At the age of 8, my husband ran away from home. Did you ever hear of the Gary Society? No, you never heard of it. They've taken these lost children. He went to the Gary Society, as young as he was. But they called my father-in-law, and he came for him, and he used to pick him up by his ears. He was a cruel man.
What he worked with.
I don't know. I hated him.
And the
Fortunately
mother.
for me, he didn't speak English,
What did he speak, Russian?
and I didn't speak Jewish.
Oh.
When I got married, I furnished a beautiful little apartment. My father-in-law was coming to visit me one day. At those days where you have the standing ashtrays, you know those standing ashtrays? Because he was a big smoker. He sits down in a chair, and I put the standing ashtray here. And the ashtray's here, and my father-in-law's going like this, over my rug.
Oh my God.
I said to my husband, look what your father's doing. He says, you know, Perry was a very patient,
Yes.
very wonderful person. He really was. Bear with him. He says, he's not going to come here again. So I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But I said, please, don't bring him here again. I can't, first of all, I cannot talk to the man. I had no desire to talk to him.
How long did he live?
But my husband supported him till the day he died.
When did?
Now remember, there are 10 children.
10 children.
When 9 children don't want to support you, when 9 children, is there something wrong with him?
Yeah.
And the wife also lived with him?
Of the 10 children, the only one that supported him was my husband. And I used to say to Perry, how come why do you support him? He says, because my mother would have wanted me to.
His mother died when he was very young.
My mother. Because he said, my mother used to say, this is quoting, better a man of straw than children of gold. I don't agree with that. But because his mother was an angel. See, Perry's mother was an angel. He used to cuff her and knock her down. Her husband did. But Perry supported that old man till the day he died. Now, I never met my mother-in-law because we didn't get married till after she died. Because he felt he couldn't support two homes. I spoke to her on the telephone. She spoke a very limited English, you know, but I never met her. And Perry later years, he regretted that. I wished you had known my mother. And all my sisters-in-law, the brothers' wives, said she was a lovely lady, a wonderful lady, so I believe it.
Was she ill?
Huh?
Was she ill? How did she die?
Wait a minute, I'll tell you about my mother-in-law, how she died.
Okay.
Perry lived with his parents. One day he gets a call from his mother, in Jewish, Perry, come home. Something is terribly wrong. I think I took the wrong medicine. She told him in Jewish, come home. So Perry worked on Green Street in Manhattan, took a taxi, and went home. He found an ambulance in front of his, they owned a little shack of a house, an ambulance in front of his house. He walks in and there's doctors attending his mother. Those foreign people put all on one shelf, medicines, poisons, all on one shelf. Medicines. His mother accidentally didn't feel good. She wanted some medicine, so she picked up the wrong bottle. Now she knew that she took something wrong, but she didn't know what. And that's what made her call Perry. Come home. He came home. His mother was sitting on the toilet because with whatever ailed her, she must have had terrible diarrhea and everything. And the ambulance was with her. She died right there on the toilet. She passed away.
How old was she?
She was poisoned.
How old?
She was 73. He loved his mother. He adored his mother. Well, that left the old man alone. So the old man says to him, you'll get married, you'll bring your wife, and you'll live here. So my husband says to me, would you agree to take my father? I said, no. No. If it means you don't want to marry me, so be it. I don't want your father. I don't like him. So he got somebody in to take care of his father. And he supported him, went to see him every Monday night, bought his medicines, brought food. The old man didn't deserve it to have one good child like that. The other 9 never went to see him. They wouldn't go. They had good reasons.
Oh, he used to beat them up.
Huh?
He used to beat them.
He was no good.
Yeah.
But my husband, his mother would have wanted him to take care.
Yeah.
So he
Our
did.
family, there's a point you have to do this.
I want to tell you something. I had a man, my husband, like any marriage, you have differences of opinion. But I would yell at him for something. Never did he yell back at me. Never. Never said a cross word to me. Never. In 56 years. Where I was concerned, I was the moon and the stars. So it was a good marriage, you know. But I'm sorry I never met his mother.
But the family met often, the brothers and sisters-in-law and...
Now, I came into that family. I had 2 strikes against me. You might know. Who is she? And I make a wedding yet. I made my own wedding. You saw the picture. I made my own wedding. I was quite a kid. I invited them all. And they learned to like me. They learned.
Yeah.
But Jenny never learned to like me. She never did. She didn't come to my wedding. You know what that son of a bitch did? She had what they call elective surgery. You know what elective surgery is?
Yes, yes.
You elect to have it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have it. But she decided when Perry gets married and me, she's not going to go to my wedding. So she went to the hospital, so she shouldn't have to go to my wedding. My wedding day in January, my husband in a taxi, in my wedding white gown, we stopped at the front of the hospital so he could get the blessing of his older sister. Years later, she says to me, I deliberately didn't go to your wedding. I says, weren't you there?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Weren't you there? Of course I knew she wasn't there. But that's what I said. Weren't you there?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give her any.
Yeah.
And I became very good friends. And do you know that I took care of Ada's money, Perry's sister? I took care of George's money. I took care of Al's money. And I arranged for Ray, his oldest sister, that the whole family should help support her because she had nothing. I arranged it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Aunt Ray.
I took care of everybody's money.
Yeah.
And when my sister-in-law Lily died at the age of 84, and she didn't want her 2 children to know that she had, how much she had? $9,000. It was up to me to send, she had 2 children, up to me to send $4,500 to each of her children. I did it. Those flowers are from Lily's son. He is president of McDonald's in Canada. He's a multi-millionaire. He sent me flowers for my birthday. And other nieces and nephews, remember my doing for them, for their parents, they are good to me.
Mm-hmm. That's very nice.
They are good to me.
Yeah.
They remember what I did for their parents.
It's worth it to help other people.
And I became, now, I come into the family, listen to this. In time, some of them die, right? We go to the cemetery, and they have these flat stones, you know. I said, there's no Epstein stone. What do you call this? A big family like this? Just can't be. I got in touch with every member of that family. I said, we have to put up a big Epstein stone. I collected money from each and every one of them, those that could afford it. The ones who can afford, we didn't. And I put a big Epstein stone up on the cemetery. I did it. No wonder my husband liked me, huh? You ask your mother, she'll tell you. I put up that big stone. Now when we go to the cemetery and you have a little pride, there's a great big stone. I put more money in it than the others. But I collected from those who could afford it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I became already a favorite member of the family. My sister-in-law Ada, who lived in Tucson, had no children. And she knew that she had to be buried in New York when they died. Came a time when her husband dies. I get a call from Arizona. Ada's sick already herself. They're both in their 80s. Mildred, you'll have to help me out. I said, what do you want me to do? I have a lawyer here. I'll give you his phone number. I want Maya buried in New York, and she left a lot of money with me. I had everybody's money. I arranged from here, from Florida, for his body from Arizona to be buried in New York. And when she died, I did the same for her. You think that's an easy job?
Yeah, no.
I had to lay out a lot of money, but her lawyer, I said, original receipts, you know, and I got the money back that I laid out. But I saw that Ada and Maya were buried. They had no children.
Mm-hmm. So you were like a caretaker for their
I
family.
took care of everything, and I did.
Yeah.
I did. And I got married and had a lovely little apartment. And I had nobody to do it for me.
The other thing we noticed in your life is that you liked a lot of outdoors. There's a lot of everybody in bathing suits. You had some good times with
Well, you know where I met my husband, don't you? I was a handball player.
You know,
I was on the
handball?
handball court.
Handball, with the
Oh,
ball?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know,
Uh-huh.
with that hard ball. 3 men were playing, they needed a fourth. I said, I play. They took me, and I made the fourth. I played with the 3 men. And then he ignored me for a couple of weeks, of course, you know. Then when they needed another hand, I played. That's how it started. I was 21 years old, he was 25.
Hmm.
This is funny. I had in my bedroom a picture of Perry's uncle. He was a rabbi, and Perry loved him. He really loved him.
He was whom? Brother of his father or of his
Brother
mother?
of his mother.
Mother.
The brother of his mother, Rabbi Negnevitsky, Abraham Negnevitsky. Larry likes, if you were in his home, he likes faces.
We
Yes,
saw.
we saw the picture there.
Yeah, the
Did
engraving.
you see him?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Well, Uncle was hanging in my house.
yeah.
Larry said, someday I'd like to have it. Well, I had it all these years. I said, I'll make a deal with you. I've had Uncle all these years. You can have him now. But you're going to give me 2 for it. And he did. He gave me the 2 that are there. And where did he hang it, Uncle?
It's
In his,
on the
in
den.
his, in his den area, very nice.
In the den?
Yeah, it's right next to the.
I'll see it Thanksgiving.
It's
Yeah.
standing on a picture frame in
Yeah.
a
That
shelf
picture was
there.
done by one of
Very
my-
beautiful.
That picture was done by one of my nephews. It's a charcoal drawing.
Mhm.
Yes, it's beautiful.
It's a charcoal drawing.
Absolutely.
Beautiful face, hasn't he?
Yes.
We supported him till he died.
Did she have more brothers and sisters?
Who?
What's her name? Your grandmother, great grandmother? What's her name? Lena?
Lena?
My mother had nobody.
No, your mother. His mother.
Perry's mother?
Sarah's mother.
Yeah, her maiden name was Negrovitsky.
I never heard of any.
Oh, only this one.
They came from Europe. I don't know what they had in Europe. I
Oh.
don't know. And he was born here, Perry, so he don't know.
No, but this her rabbi was her brother.
Yeah,
She had other brothers and sisters?
no, just the rabbi.
Just the rabbi.
And
This is funny. The rabbi had a little store on the east side of New York, Rabbi Negnevitsky. My husband, when I'm engaged, takes me to meet his uncle. He sells Jewish things, Jewish books, candles, things. I come in, I look at him, and he's got a very sweet face, you know. But his wife, I didn't like the way she looked. So Perry told her that I don't understand any Jewish. So she says to him, hat she brothers? Has she schwesters? Can you make out what I'm saying?
No.
Well, I did. Has she brothers? Has she any brothers?
Oh.
I understood.
Uh-huh.
Has she any schwesters? Has she any sisters?
Sister.
So I started to laugh, and Perry started to laugh. So he told his aunt that I understood that. I don't like her asking questions in front of me.
yeah, it's rude.
The aunt.
Yeah.
Has she brothers? Has she schwesters? They're so similar, schwester and
Yeah.
sister. But the uncle I liked. Yeah. So I told you my background.
You did. Beautiful story.
Let's go eat. What do you
It's-
say?
Okay.
What a story.
Huh?
What a story.
Well,
It's a lot of stories.
listen.
Remarkable life. And today you have all this together. This
I
beautiful
came out of
family.
Pleasantville. I was a nice-looking little kid, I had rosy cheeks, I was brought up in the country. My brother gets me a job in a school as a secretary. Listen to this. The head of the school is Mr. Henry Lee. His name is Lee. I'm sitting at the typewriter, and he's breathing down my neck, and he smells from onions and cheese that he must have had for breakfast. I got scared. So I went and told my brother, my older brother at that time, I don't like it. He says, quit. Quit. So I quit. I get another job. William Street, Manhattan. Are you familiar with Manhattan?
Yeah.
You are? I get a job, 110 William Street, as a stenographer. I come into the office there's 4 other girls, and they're all older than me. I'm 16 years old. They're all older than me. They're 21, 22. My boss is Mr. Posner. I'm working there a week, when all of a sudden I get a note on my desk. I want you to meet me at 5 o'clock downstairs. So, you know me, I said, well, he wants to give me a raise. That's how I figured. I was very naive. I was an innocent kid. 5 o'clock, I waited downstairs. Everybody goes home. Mr. Posner comes down, and we're walking around. He says, let's go upstairs. I said, what for? Come upstairs. I said, no, I have to go home. My sister's waiting for me. Gloria and I were waiting to go to that delicatessen to have that soup. Come upstairs, I won't keep you long. No, I didn't understand what he wanted, but I knew I shouldn't go. That's all I know. You know that man walked me around till 8 o'clock?
My goodness.
Trying to convince me to go upstairs.
It was very hard for women, wasn't it?
I didn't go.
Very hard for women.
Listen to this. I come home and I tell Gloria, I want you to quit. I said, no, I'll be all right. I go to work next day, I get a notice, I'm fired. Naturally, you know what I did? I was a cocky kid. I'm terminated, you know. I got a pink slip. I waited till it was close to 5 o'clock that day. I waited till all 4 other girls were there. And I said, girls, I hope you don't mind, I want to make an announcement. See that man over there? He walked me around till 8 o'clock last night, trying to convince me to go upstairs. And I wouldn't go, so he fired me. Well, they were smart. These girls knew what. I said, and I tossed my head and I walked out. But you see, I did say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Good for you.
That's remarkable.
Then I was afraid to get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, what's going on here? I get a job in a suspender house, 443 Broadway. They make suspenders. My boss is 80 years old, Mr. Lublins, a chairman, Mr. Adolf Lublins. I'm there a little while. We got the, what do you call the, where it gets all dark, the eclipse.
Yeah.
There's going to be an eclipse where it's going to be totally dark. So the bookkeeper and me, when it got all very dark, we went to the window. We were there for a couple of months already. I feel a couple of arms go around me and I screamed. The old man Lublins
You're kidding.
did that.
It's called the old dirty man.
The old man did that. And I turned around and I said, how dare you? By then I was getting educated with all these other goddamn men. He apologized. He apologized. Oh, Miss Sachs, he called me. Miss Sachs. He didn't say Sachs, he called him Miss Sachs.
Yeah.
And with his German intonation, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But he grabbed me around, you know. I got frightened to death. It was pitch dark. Then I took a job working for a woman. I worked for a woman after that. A Dr. Smith, a lady. I took medical dictation. She examined deformed children, and I had her write down what she was saying. Let's go eat.
Okay,
Let's go eat.
all right.
So it was
Thank
quite a
you.
life,
That
wasn't
was
it?
wonderful. Quite alive.
Quite alive.
Very rich, and you made it.
Yes,
And
I
you
made it,
made it.
because I was a spunky kid.
Yeah.
I was a spunky kid.
You certainly
You
were.
decided
You
I
still
made
are.
nobody take advantage of me. Nobody. And I still don't.
Okay, let's go.
I still don't let anybody take advantage of me.
It's wonderful.
So let's go eat.
Okay.